I was just depressed. I hated myself. I couldn't find, if you were to ask me, what I liked about myself, I couldn't find anything.
Everything stopped working, and she became more and more distant, and it became harder and harder to reach her.
I wasn't the same person at all. I was angry at everything. I was confused. I really needed help. I didn't see it, but I did.
Love and caring alone was not enough. We had tried therapy and counseling, group therapy, individual, every combination you could think of, and we sort of reached the conclusion that we had felt like we had run out of practical options.
We knew our son was in trouble. We went on a search, and we found Outback.
We started Outback with the vision in mind of bringing the best of what others had done in youth wilderness programs and combine that with the best of modern therapeutic techniques so that we could individualize treatment, customize treatment, and reach every young boy and girl that's been struggling.
The outdoor part of this whole program is really key, one of the major keys to helping a student change. Out here we have trees, dirt, bushes, animals, none of the things that they're used to, that they've kind of been a part of their old context, the computer, telephone, radio, friends, drugs, all that stuff is not attainable here. And so at the very surface level, all the things that kept them in the old cycles and the old behaviors are not here, and a lot of real I guess quiet kinds of things are here that allow them to quiet down and just really start to become introspective about their life.
Especially in this day and age, I think there's so much noise and stuff and things that kids are feeling that are able to fill up every moment of their day. And I think to have just time and silence is a great thing.
The wilderness doesn't punish or reward. Consequences come as a result of the child's choices. And that makes it very clear to them. My efforts are what dictate what's going to happen to me, because the wilderness isn't going to either punish me or reward me. It's up to me.
The first couple of weeks were kind of hard, just like getting used to being where I was. And then I think I found myself focusing more on like what we were talking about with our therapists in counseling, and like thinking about myself and what I was doing.
A lot of it was disbelief. Like, I can't be going here. Like, this isn't for me. Like, people who go to programs are ones with problems, and I don't have problems, which is definitely not the truth.
Well, I mean, I didn't appreciate anything at home. I mean, at home you have all those materialistic things. That's what you can focus on. You don't have to deal with any of your issues inside because you have all these distractions. But when you're out in nature, there's nothing. All you have is yourself and really the people around you to support you. So when you have to deal with those issues and you're faced with those issues, then that's all you have is yourself. So it takes away all of those materialistic aspects.
So the kind of the clutter of the world's gone, and it's just them and the staff and others who are really engaged in the reflective process. There's adversity out here that just comes with being out here. The elements themselves are therapeutic because they tend to make us find strengths in ourselves. They kind of become one with the earth, so to speak. They start to push themselves physically. They start to quiet down on the inside. And it just is a beautiful context, really, for someone to come to find themselves.
Pretty much every day I learn something new about myself, and I've come to learn about who I am. And it makes it so easy without any distractions to just kind of sit and think and think and think, and just open your mind up to things that you might not have seen before.
It's taught me a whole lot about myself. Like when we hike, you get a lot of time to yourself. You don't really talk too much because you're focused on the hike and you're focused on what's going on in your head. And you can get a lot of epiphanies and a lot of enlightenments during those hikes.
One experience I've had out here is busting. That means just getting a coal, and you use a spindle and a top rock and a bow and a fireboard. And you just stick the spindle in the fireboard and put the top rock on top, and then just move the bow. And it's really hard. You have to work at it. You definitely cannot get it the first time you try. But the first time I did it, I felt like I was everything. I felt wonderful. I felt so good. I was so happy to see that little coal, to see that fire coming up. It was so exciting that I did it myself, and I just have a coal to make fire for the rest of the group to eat.
I like a lot because a lot of it is based on Aboriginal and Native American traditions, and I think that a lot of those traditions that are, shown through the ceremonies, and it's pretty much just a big metaphor for life.
At Outback, unlike a lot of other wilderness programs, we incorporate the making of primitive living skills items. And just like ancient cultures from all over the world for many years, that's where the lessons come from, that's where the metaphors come from. And that's one of the ways that we teach the kids out on the trail.
This is a panpipe flute that I made. One of the girls that I worked with, she saw it and she wanted to make one. And as we were making them, she was getting really frustrated. And just one simple little thing, she's just like, oh, this reed isn't turning into the flute like I wanted it to, And just one little thing, I was able to just mention how, well, it takes time. You've seen yourself out here. What effort you've put into making yourself a different person, a better person. And, give the flute a little time to be a flute, to be something really cool. And she's just like, oh, true.
Her first letter to me was very angry. Words like, my situation here. What do you think that you're doing? And by the second and third week, I was getting letters that said things like, I'm really starting to work on things now. And I'm starting to work on myself. And I know that I'm making progress now.
As we would communicate through letters primarily and frequent open communication with our therapist, it was quite obvious that something was going on, and we began to see the air clearing, so to speak, the smoke clearing, really within a matter of a couple of weeks, and it just got progressively better.
Being able to write, getting Dan's letters have been uplifting, and letting us know that he's okay, and us being able to write back and, kind of reinforcing, hey, that sounds great, you're doing good, and keep up the hard work, and this is some of the stuff we've learned because we're reading the same books you are, and, we're all in this together.
Not just are we treating the individual, but we put that in the context of the family system and how the family system might be contributing to good things and to not so helpful things.
We learned a lot about ourselves, and we learned a lot about Dan's here. Dan's here doing this, but we've got a job to do as well.
The parent seminars were very interesting. We talked about a book and some printed materials that brought up interesting points, and it was a good experience for a couple of reasons. It was good to meet the other parents because you feel like you're the only parent who has ever gone through this, okay? And you must be a truly terrible person to have had this happen in your life. And when you meet the other parents and you realize that you're not the only person who ever had to go through this.
Often we find that we want to work on the communication between the parents to help them become a unified sort of front as they work with their adolescent.
One of the ways we feel like we brought the best of the therapeutic world is we hire PhD level therapists.
I loved our therapist. From the beginning, he was very, I felt like he was becoming Stephen for us. He was our mediator between Stephen and us, and I felt like he painted a very accurate picture of where Stephen was. I don't feel like he fluffed anything up. I felt like he was very clear, he was very honest. I felt, for never having met him, he was very in tune to our feelings and to our struggle and was trying to bring the two of us together. I felt like he did it very well.
The program at Outback has been developed over many, many years. And one of the things we specialize in is getting the student to want to hear us, to want to cooperate with us, to want to learn, to want to change without feeling like they're being forced to do it. And that is what makes what we do individualized for each student out there.
Staff are awesome. You can relate to them really well. They care about you more than you'll probably ever know.
I feel most importantly we really work on the relationships with the kids, with the students. We want them to trust us, and staff most of all will exemplify the safety and the standards that we want, and they do a really good job of following that.
I felt completely safe in the program. I believe that with all of the people around and the girls and, you know, just nature encompassing you, I really think that that's probably the safest place you can be, away from everything, to really discover what the problems are and what you need to fix. I mean, it was probably the safest place that, you know, it could have been done.
I felt safe because there weren't lions and bears around. He wasn't in danger. He was with people who were loving and nurturing.
As a physician, I've been very impressed with how concerned the Outback program has been with the safety of the kids. They don't deprive them of food or water for any reason. They don't hike if it's over 90 degrees. If there's any question, they have direct contact to a physician. And in that sense, I feel very comfortable with the program and their safety guidelines.
Basically, we were reassured when we walked out the door that this was a place for Dan and he'd be in good hands.
My all-time favorite experiences are always when the parents come out for their visits. Those have been some of the best experiences, and to see families join together and to see just the smile on parents' faces too, like, are you my child?
We're driven up into the woods, and to see our daughter come out of those woods
healthy.
She was absolutely beautiful. Her posture from hiking and carrying that backpack, the brightness in her face. I mean, she was completely clear.
She was off a bad diet.
She was eating healthy, and she didn't have that stress, that stress look. And when she emerged from that woods, it was the most joyous moment of our life.
I think one of the most powerful moments when we went to see Josh was in meeting with Josh for the first time. We were doing the bull roar. You're really swinging a rope, if you will, that makes a noise, and then wherever Josh is, Josh would do the same thing, and so we would hear the noise and we could therefore try and figure out where Josh was and go to him. Tim was showing it to us and it made the noise, and then we heard Josh's sound and it was like, oh my gosh. I was like, and so I did. I yanked that thing from Tim and I said, let me do it. And I couldn't put enough of myself into making that bull roar because I knew that that would get me to Josh. And then I remember Steve was getting ready to do it again. And Steve said, there he is. And I looked around the trees and there he was, standing all by himself on this hill doing this bull roar. And it was amazing.
And the fact that we had to work towards meeting him, like you guys didn't just let us see him, we had to kind of do that communication thing. It was pretty cool because it was delayed gratification for us and we both had to work for that. And that was pretty symbolic, I think, about bringing us back together as a family.
It was probably one of the most incredible experiences in my life.
Pretty much my whole attitude towards life has done a flip-flop.
I've just changed so much and appreciate everything so much more now.
Outback gave me the opportunity to change, and I'm forever thankful for that.
It's just something that is almost impossible to put into words.
There's so many things I could have been doing with my time other than doing drugs. There's so many other things that are just more valuable to your life. I intend to follow through and go somewhere with my life, which I don't think I was doing.
I sent a boy out there and I got a man back.
Oh, I think it was the best decision we could have made. It changed all of us.
Well, looking back at my parents' decision, I really feel that it was important that they know that I couldn't help myself, and I didn't know that, and they had to make that decision for me because I could never make that decision where I was. So I think it was important for my parents to have to step in and make the decision to send me away.
It was the first 100 miles on a lifetime of healing, and for that we will be eternally grateful, eternally grateful.
If your child is in trouble and you're not considering doing something, then you are taking a terrific gamble with the rest of their life.
It's made us closer. It's made us better, and I think that it will continue on that way.
Outback will always be part of our family. It will always be something that we will never forget.
I will never cease feeling utterly thankful that we found them.